Story 1. The Man in the Crawl Space. I lived alone in a small rental house in Salem, Oregon. I'd just moved in after a breakup, needing space and quiet. It was an older home, creaky floors and all, but the rent was cheap, and I figured I could handle a little character. About a week in, I started hearing odd noises at night. Light taps in the walls, soft scratching near the floorboards. I chalked it up to rats or squirrels. But then things escalated. I'd find furniture move slightly. My kitchen drawer, which I always kept closed, would be halfway open when I came back from work. I thought maybe I was just forgetful. Until the night I found my bedroom closet wide open, even though I distinctly remembered shutting it. I installed a cheap security cam in my living room, pointed toward the hallway. The next morning, I reviewed the footage. Around 2:47 a.m., the closet door in the hall opened slowly. A hand reached out from the inside. Then a thin, ragged-looking man crawled out, slow, quiet, like a spider. He stood in the hallway, watching my bedroom door for several minutes before crawling back in and shutting the door behind him. I called the police immediately. When they arrived, they found the crawl space above the closet had been disturbed. It led to a hidden attic space. The man was gone, but they found blankets, food wrappers, and even a bucket he'd been using as a toilet. He'd been living in my house the whole time. Story 2. The wrong passenger. I drive for a rideshare app in Los Angeles. Most nights are boring. Pickups from bars, airports, nothing exciting. One night around 2 a.m., I got a request from a woman named Marissa. The pickup point was a dead-end road near the outskirts of the city. She was already standing on the curb when I arrived. Tall, pale, dressed in a vintage-style coat. She didn't say much, just got in and quietly said, "Take me downtown." The whole ride, she stared out the window. No phone, no movement. I tried to make small talk, but she only responded with or soft sighs. Something about her gave me chills. At one point, I looked at the rearview mirror and for a split second, it looked like she was smiling. Not a friendly smile, but weird. Too wide. We arrived downtown, and when I turned to tell her we were there, the back seat was empty. Completely. I hadn't heard the door open. I checked the app. It still showed her ride as active. I canceled it and drove off, trying to convince myself I imagined it. A week later, I got another request. Same name, same pickup point. I declined. Curious, I searched for her name in the area. Marissa Ramirez, reported missing in 1997 after leaving a party near that same street, never found. Story 3. Echoes from Apartment 2B. I lived in a small apartment complex in Pittsburgh. Quiet place, mostly older tenants. Across the hall was Apartment 2B, which had been vacant for months. One night, I heard music playing from that unit. Old jazz, muffled but distinct. I figured the landlord had finally rented it out. The next morning, I asked the super, Rick, who the new neighbor was. He looked confused. 2B. That place is still empty. You probably heard it from next door. But I knew what I heard. That night, I stayed up, and sure enough, around 11:45 p.m., the music started again. I pressed my ear to the door. Between the songs, I could hear footsteps and what sounded like someone whispering. I knocked. The music stopped instantly. I backed up, and the door opened, just a crack. I saw a pale eye peering through. A raspy voice asked, "You like jazz?" I was too stunned to respond. The door slammed shut. The next morning, I told Rick everything. He looked pale. He swore again no one lived there. Finally, he agreed to open the unit for me. Inside, it was empty. Dust everywhere. But one thing stood out. A record player in the corner, plugged in, with a half-played jazz vinyl still spinning. Rick pulled the plug. We both heard something click from inside the wall. He tore open a loose panel and found an old, crumbling photo album. Inside were pictures of a man who used to live in 2B until he murdered his wife and hanged himself in the apartment. The man in the photos looked exactly like the eye behind the door. Story 40. The Voice in the Woods. when I was 16. My cousin and I went camping near the Shawnee National Forest in Illinois. It was just us. No parents, no phones, just two kids trying to be adventurous. The first night was normal. We made a fire, roasted marshmallows, and fell asleep in our tent. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to a voice calling my name. Soft, sing-song, like a child. "Ryan, Ryan, come here." I sat up, heart racing. My cousin was still asleep. I thought maybe he was messing with me, but the voice was outside the tent. I peeked out. Nothing but trees. Then I heard it again. "Ryan, I'm lost, help me." It was closer this time, but I didn't move. Something felt wrong. The voice didn't sound right. Like it was trying to sound human, but didn't know how. I shook my cousin awake. He heard it too. We grabbed our flashlights and stepped outside. Silence. Suddenly, about 30 feet away, we saw a child standing between the trees, barefoot, wearing old clothes. I called out, "Are you okay?" No response. Just a tilt of the head. Then it mimicked me. Perfectly. My exact voice, "Are you okay?" We bolted back to the car, left everything behind. 2 years later, I came across an article online about people going missing in Shawnee. Many who reported hearing voices before vanishing. Some locals say there's something in the woods that mimics its prey. Something that doesn't just want to find you. It wants to become you.